What is going on, everyone? Welcome into the Tim Warren Live Show. And in today's episode, we are talking about one of my favorite crypto projects out there. If you're new, we're so glad you're here, and you're going to hear a lot about it. If you've been around for a while, you guys know that I've loved Chainlink for quite some time. And this weekend, the price popped off, but there are some bigger things on some different charts that I'm looking at right now that are making me say, hey, I need to get a little bit more aggressive with my Chainlink DCA strategy. Am I telling you that we will not have any types of dips whatsoever? No. I want to start the live show off making it very clear. I'm not saying that it's nothing but up from here, but I am saying there are some things popping up on several different charts, several different time frames telling me, holy cow, it is time to be loading up on Chainlink and not get left behind. I'm not your financial advisor. You do whatever you think you should do. But I'm telling you as my show what I do, because that's what I do on a daily basis. I'm telling you guys what I'm doing, and I'm explaining why I think it's time to start getting more aggressive with my DCA on Chainlink. We're going to get into the news. We're going to get into the charts. We're going to take a look at all of that. But as always, make sure to smash the like button if you enjoy our content. It really does help us out. Let's take a look at the bubbles. You can see here there's some big gainers. Pay no attention to the white bubble right here. There's some sponsor with the website that we utilize in our website to get the bubbles. There's some sponsor called Tag. Don't go. I don't even know what it is, right? Pay no attention to the white bubble. Pay attention to the green and red bubbles. Casper and Canton are two. It's like Tag knew I was talking about it. It moved. I didn't touch it. I didn't touch anything. It's just moving around on me over here. Casper and Canton are two big red coins on the day. Casper 3.3% downside. Canton 5.2. We'll take a look. I didn't have Canton down here. Let's look at Canton as well today. We are going to take a look at Casper. We're going to take a look at Sui. A couple other stocks we got to take a look at as well. But the big gainers, Polygon is up 10.8%. Probably should put that on the list as well. We need to go look at what Polygon is doing. Zcash up 5.1%. Bitcoin doing quite well today. We're going to get to those charts here in just a second. Some big moves happening on Bitcoin. But overall, a bullish weekend. Again, Chainlink. It's only up 0.8% today. But let's go take a look at the charts real quickly. Let's flip over to Link real quickly before we dive into Bitcoin. This is a more micro time frame. I told you there's some big things happening. I'm going to save some of my bigger technical analysis on Chainlink for later in the video, right? But Chainlink for sure, again, if you guys have not watched any of my content, we've broken the bear market trend line, right? So this bear market trend line back in existence since August of 2025, we've had several touches now on it. We've not only broken through it, we broke through it weeks ago, way back in July, middle of July. We rode resistance as support all the way back down towards 790, but now we've seen the sign of strength. The volume has come in. We've put in higher highs and higher lows. You love what you're seeing here on smaller time frames. We're setting up bull pennants. It looks like another one is potentially set up. We'll take a closer look at that later. These are like the things that are just right on the nose. They're right in our face. Good looking charts going on here. I want to go a little deeper with you later in the video, though, about what I'm loving about Chainlink's charts. Stick around for that one. When it comes to Bitcoin making a pretty big move here. Now, I have this old resistance line in orange right here. We were tracking a former resistance trend line on a small bear trend that we came back and we tested as support here back on the weekend, or technically on Friday on the 14th. But more importantly, take a look at my smaller red and green lines right here. It does look like Bitcoin is preparing for a major breakout, either to the upside or the downside, but a symmetrical triangle has been formed. Why is that? Because we are putting in higher lows continually, going all the way back here, technically going all the way back to June 30th, but definitively the trend has started since back here on July 6th. Meanwhile, back to the high of July 21st, we actually are putting in lower highs at the moment. So you have yourself a symmetrical triangle pattern. The boringness is going to potentially even get more boring. Like there's nothing saying that we won't see Bitcoin just kind of do this and kind of keep bouncing back and forth between. But eventually, we should see a decent move to the upside, 67 to 70K area, or a decent move to the downside south of 60K coming. The boring, choppy nature of Bitcoin, it's going to be boring maybe a little bit longer, but a big breakout is coming. It is coming. The question is when and what that is going to look like. Something I want to check in with you right here, because we're probably not going to go too deep into more Bitcoin technical analysis right now. That's what I was thinking. It does look like, and this is too early, right? This is too early to tell here, but it does look like we potentially have a chance of a buy signal coming on the daily chart. You guys know we had a sell signal here the other day. This is a reason why we actually won some shorts in Bitcoin over the live, the VIP trading group, but we had this clean bounce again on the trend of support. Buy signals do look like they're coming in. But again, let's just see how the day closes. Let's see what tomorrow does. Let's see what happens back up at this red resistance level before we make any type of definitive statement. I will say, if Bitcoin does start to poke its head above this red line, though, let's talk about somewhere back above 65,000. Things could get kind of interesting if we find our way back over 65,000. At that point, 67 to 70K looks likely. Do we break above this red line? That's the other thing. That red line right there is Bitcoin's bear market trend line. Just like I'll show you a couple of coins here real quickly. This is Bitcoin, right? We're still below it. Coins that have broken their bear market trend line. Ethereum kind of trading in a symmetrical triangle. It's preparing to make a break to the upside. Solana has broken its bear market trend line. XRP has not broken its bear market trend line. Just wanted to show them. XRP just staying very boring. We told you guys there's a world. I do think XRP to 90 cents at some point in the next couple of months, probably pretty likely. Chainlink, as we said before, has broken their bear market trend line. Ondo didn't really have a definitive bear market trend line. I guess you could kind of make a statement if you want to go all the way back to 24. You could kind of try to say, is this the bear market trend line? So maybe we haven't broken it. I think the bear market trend line, though, that we've watched with other coins would say Ondo broke it a very long time ago, all the way back over here in April, and we've been trending bullish ever since. But there's a handful of coins that have broken bear market trend lines. Bitcoin has not joined the list just yet. I would be willing. I don't want to say willing because I would. If Bitcoin made a huge surge, right? I would love to be wrong about this, by the way. I would love to see Bitcoin surge and break this trend line and then look back and say, oh, turns out 58K was the bottom. I would love to see that. I just have a feeling it's going to look more like this before it's all said and done. Okay, that's just my feeling at this point. Would love to be wrong. But I still think there's a draw. There's like a magnet just sitting down here, right? If I can draw a magnet, I don't know how good I am at drawing this. There you go, little magnet. That or Miami fans might say that's the U. I don't know. I just feel like there's a magnet down here around $53,000 that doesn't have the job done yet to pull Bitcoin down. We shall see how that all comes to be. It's time to get in the news, though, right? Because all the charts are moving because of things that happen in the news. I'm going to bring in Taylor Shrum, my business partner, my head of news. I want to get his take on what's going on here. But first of all, as I always ask him, I like the new blue background here, Shrum. Maybe tell me a little bit about that. Also, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing better than I deserve, Tim. I got a little studio upgrade. As the resident star athlete here in the local pickup soccer leagues in New England,
just winning pickup soccer games left and right over there. Yeah,
I had to up my game. So, yeah, doing good though. Better than I deserve. Staying hydrated. Got to.
Yep.
Actually, I'm getting close to a refill there. That's just shows how hydrated I've been. Tim, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm a little tired. My wife and kids went to go see my wife's parents they left yesterday. They're going to be gone through, I think, Wednesday night. So I'm a bachelor at home right now, meaning I have a lot more time on my hands than I normally do. So what we're doing right now, I'm shooting a bunch of strategy videos for the VIP trading group, helping people understand better what to look for in the trading journey. So keep myself busy with all that stuff. But I'm interested in the news here. We're going to go a lot into Chainlink a little bit. We're going to start off with some other stories because the world's not just all about Chainlink right now. There's some other things happening, but make sure to stay tuned. If you clicked on this and you said, Tim, I want to know what's happening with Chainlink, what's going on in the news, what's going on in the charts, you guys found the right video. We're going to break it all down. Let's start with the big headlines, though, here, Shrum. Let's talk about what's happening in the world of cryptocurrency. Go ahead and take it away.
Absolutely. So last week was all about inflation. How is the data going to steer the FOMC? Well, now that the dust has settled, the betting market thinks that a 25 basis point increase, a hike, is only 25% likely in September, specifically September 16th. So last week was a bullish week because we got a double favorable print from the inflation metrics. However, Bitcoin continued lower. Now it swept lows. This week, it seems to be doing the opposite. I'll leave it to Tim to tell the rest of that story on the charts. Let's get into the news. Treasury Secretary Bessent says the U.S. Treasury is moving quickly to implement the Genius Act. Yes, the Genius Act actually has not gone live yet. It passed Congress and Senate and was signed by the President of the United States. However, these types of big laws, they don't go into effect immediately. They often go into effect the following year or even years after. The Genius Act will go into effect as law January 18th, 2027. So right now, a lot of that liquidity that's going to come pouring into the market, specifically in the stablecoin world, is still on the sidelines because this law of the land has not gone live yet. Besant is doing everything he needs to do to make sure that the Treasury Department have dotted their I's and crossed their T's for Genius to go live in January. Bit of a snoozy story, indeed. Let's keep moving. Update, President Trump, maybe you've heard of him. SEC Chair Paul Atkins and CFTC Chair Michael Selig are expected at the White House crypto meeting on Wednesday. But it's not just regulators and the president. Executives from Coinbase, A16Z, Ripple, Chainlink, Kalshi, Paradigm, and the Digital Chamber are also expected to participate. And the meeting is being described as a kickoff ahead of the CFTC's inaugural 35-member Innovation Advisory Committee meeting on Thursday. That's meeting. So Thursday is going to be the 19th. The White House meeting is going to be the 18th, which is Tuesday. So make sure you all are tuning in for those dates. Those are going to be super important. I've got two more headlines, but I want to throw it over to Tim. What are you thinking is going to come out of this story? Is it going to be sell the news? Is it going to be buy the news? Is it going to be somewhere in between?
Make sure we get those dates right. You misspoke there. Wednesday is the 19th. That should be the White House meeting, the 19th. Thursday is the 20th. That is supposed to be the CFTC meeting. Now, seeing this on the story, seeing who's attending, the fact that both the chairman of the SEC and the CFTC are there, we talked about this on Friday. I'm wondering if there was just a level of like, hey, SEC, there's no point in launching what you guys want to do before you have this meeting to sit down. Come talk at the White House, not only to Donald Trump and to obviously officials, elected officials, come talk to industry leaders in crypto. Let's just make sure that everything is where we want to be. By the way, SEC and CFTC, very good friends of cryptocurrency. Like the regulation they're going to create, I'm not going to say that there won't be any type of crackdown on things, but it'll be very common sense crackdowns to protect consumers and then freedom to allow crypto businesses to grow. So I think having Coinbase and Kraken and other crypto leaders sit down with the SEC and the CFTC and to talk things through before officially announcing regulation, very, very good thing. So if that is the reason why we delayed it last Friday with the SEC, it's a good reason. I'm very curious. I think the show on Wednesday and Thursday, when we get more clarity, and Friday, we're on the hindsight of all of it. Friday's show will be very, very good. Break down kind of where we are in the industry now. But I'm very optimistic about Wednesday and Thursday. I think it can be very, very good. And, I know we have a big uphill battle still to fight with the senators. It's just so hard to get people in Congress to agree, but still optimistic they figure something out there. But this is a great backup plan to make sure the SEC and the CFTC are working with crypto companies and passing regulation that they're allowed to pass, and they're not going to get stifled in some sort of back and forth political stunt that just kind of holds the American people hostage.
Yeah. Well, it's not just you who's optimistic. Going back over to the news here, Bitwise CIO Matt Hogan thinks this week's crypto meetings are positive signal for Bitcoin. He says continued engagement between the administration and crypto leaders show an ongoing commitment to the industry. That is what they are designed to do. So that is good. We're getting a clear read there from Matt Hogan. So last story here. My thoughts on this meeting is let's be careful. Let's not get over our skis as bulls, because this wouldn't be the first meeting that was supposed to take place in Washington or even on the White House that ended up disappointing. So just be careful. Yep. But this should, in theory, be very bullish.
Yep.
Last story here is around Chainlink. So Chainlink partnered with these names in July: BitGo, Aave, UBS, Fidelity, AWS Marketplace, Robinhood Chain, DTC, and Project Pangea. Now, you may not have heard Project Pangea. Go take some time to look into it. It's a pretty big deal. But Tim, the question we put here, are you bullish enough on Link? What is your answer to that?
Yeah, there's some things on the charts that are absolutely phenomenal. As we talked about on Friday, again, we talked about some big news that I think caused a lot of Chainlink pumps over the weekend, and it was obviously the stuff happening with them and these new AI agents. And I know there's some back and forth. There are some people that are going back and forth saying, does that actually have any effect on the token whatsoever? Well, at the end of the day, whatever it was did have an effect on the token, because the token is one of the only cryptos that is pumping right now during all of this chaos. Let me take a look here, even with you still here. Let's go take a look again at that chart, Shrum. What other coin, this is the daily chart here, what other coin has done this in the last week and some change? Chainlink is up in the last week, if I can grab this tool correctly. It did at one point was up close to 21%. A lot of cryptocurrencies are negative in the last 7 days because there's been more of a pullback trend. We kind of showed that on Bitcoin's chart. There's more of a pullback happening. Don't even talk to the XRP maxis out there who are just being brutalized. I saw someone in chat earlier say XRP is dead. XRP is not dead. XRP has a very bright future, but it's not having a great time right now. Chainlink is. Chainlink is having a short-term, very, very good time right now. But I want to get into it with you here. I'm looking at the wrong chart, Shrum. I never took your chart down and put mine up. I apologize, everybody. I was not looking at the computer screen. This is what we were looking at during that whole conversation about Chainlink. I looked down and I saw the tweet still. I was like, oh gosh, that's not what I was looking for. What I want to show you though, there's some bigger things that I really, really like what we're seeing. Let's start with maybe the least bullish of them all, but something to keep an eye on. We're going to start off by leaving the link over US dollar chart. We're going to link over Bitcoin. Now, it hasn't broken a major resistance trend line just yet, but it is making some big moves back up towards resistance. And you can see, just like with other coins that have been in a falling wedge pattern, link over Bitcoin has been in a falling wedge pattern all the way since back here in September 20th, right? So we actually never, even in 2021, there's a reason why a lot of altcoins didn't have a big bull market. Link in 23, 24, 25 couldn't even break this trend line, but we're making another move at it right now. This is the weekly chart that I'm looking at. We're making another move at it right now. And if this red line does get busted, as most falling wedge charts do, it should be pretty explosive here for Chainlink. I told you this is the least bullish of all of the things. But one thing I love here is we have been building up bullish divergence on the weekly chart for Link for quite some time. Heck, we're at a stage now where we just put in, and I do believe this is the first time. Let me zoom in to make sure. But you guys can see here, this is the monthly chart. Monthly means a lot of stuff has to happen. A lot of time passes. But while we were putting these lower highs and lower lows, we were putting in lower highs and lower lows on the RSI as well, all the way until this one right here, where we did come lower. If you zoom in and you look at this, the lowest monthly close since all the way back over here in July of 19 was this close right here. This month was April of 2026, closed lower than the previous low over here, June of 25. But the RSI lows are higher. So the first time ever, I almost said in a long time, but this was the first bullish divergence on the monthly chart for Link over Bitcoin in history. Plus, and I know we've had some buy signals recently that did not amount to breaking this, but take a look here. The previous monthly buy signals, you got this one right back here in July of 22, nice little pop. This one right here in September 23, nice little pop. This one right here in December 24, nice little pop. The monthly buy signals, you get a little pop. We just right now are printing, as we're approaching the resistance line, we are right now posting this daily buy, monthly buy signal. Again, historically, we post these as we get going, not as we're about to stop. Okay, so again, you do need to see Link over Bitcoin clear the hurdle. You need to see us break this trend line and give a sign of strength to confirm this. But that's a very good sign. I want to start off right there. That's the first of several signs that I'm loving right now on the Chainlink chart. Let's move back to Link over USD. I already told you we broke the bear market trend line. More importantly, let's stay on the monthly chart. And I was cross-comparing this. Again, I've told you guys, I think the bottom for majority of crypto is very close. I think some crypto still need to go lower, but I think it's very close. We right now, we got a long August left. We're halfway done with the month of August, right? So we still have 2 weeks before this confirms. But if we were to confirm this tomorrow, we have a very good buy signal on the monthly chart for Chainlink right now. The last one that we had here, you got to go back to September of 2022. And even though it stayed boring for about another year, that was the bottom of the bear market the last time we got this. The last time we got this buy signal, bottom of the bear market. You cross compare this, and again, not that I think that you should only rely on this, but we're very close to a buy signal on the monthly chart for Bitcoin. Last time we had a monthly buy signal on Bitcoin, February of 23, 3 months after the bottom of bear market for Bitcoin. Same thing with Ethereum. Ethereum is very close, giving me a kryptonite buy signal. Not quite there on the Neurowave one, but again, last time we saw this red money flow curving back up, go back all the way over here to January of 2023. A couple of months post the bottom, we're getting very close to that again. And that's one of the things I think Ethereum bottom might be in. Same with Solana right here. The last time we had a buy signal, we didn't even have it on Neurowave, but the last time we had a kryptonite buy signal, we're looking back over here, September of 23. Bull market really takes off. We're very close to putting another monthly buy signal on Solana again. But the one that right now, it looks like it's ready to go, just get us to the end of the month, and boom, we have a qualifier, Chainlink, looking very, very good out here on the monthly chart. Let alone, you look at the weekly chart, you look at everything else going on. The weekly charts are humming. We're not even beginning to be overextended there on those charts. We've talked about this before on the show. Breaking trend lines is a big, big deal. We're very close to breaking a trend line here on the RSI with this whole thing. So there's a whole lot of things on the chart that are screaming at me. Listen, I can come down here to the daily and 4-hour chart. I already told you guys earlier in the show, we could see a bull pennant. I think the next bull pennant puts us over $10. We'll go ahead and take a quick look at that. If we get a bullish breakout of this triangle, move this over to the last support touch. We're looking at a price target somewhere in the world of $10.40. That's peanuts, right? That's just a cool next week and some change. What I'm more interested in is these larger term buy signals that are telling me the bottom looks in, but you better start DCing as much as possible because we're going to get explosive here very, very, very soon. I still think it's doable. I think I've said this before. I still think I could easily see Chainlink. Maybe it does pop up here closer to 10 cents. Maybe it gets up closer to 11 cents and then pulls back down here later in the year back towards 8.70. I just don't think we're dropping below the $7 bottom we had back here in the summer of 2026. I think we're going to see a significant higher low on Chainlink. So the bottom, if you're waiting for a brand new bottom, I think you are too late. If you came to this video saying, Tim, am I too late to buy the exact bottom of the bear market? Yes, I think you probably are. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think that we're going to be able to get back to $7. Could we see lower $9, $8? Sure, I think it's possible. But the way that smart money is moving right now in Chainlink, the way that these things go, the signals that are coming in, OGs are going to start buying. And I know some of you might even be saying, but Tim, Chainlink just disappointed me so much last bull market, right? Chainlink only rallied. Let's go take a look here. I don't even think it had as good of a bull market as Bitcoin did. It topped out at only a 510%. Let me show you this number's exact. 525, right? It was a 6x from the exact bottom up to the exact top. I realize that's disappointing. I realize there are some people are going to be very disappointed. We're very disappointed, and they're just thinking like, man, I just don't think Chainlink's special. I want to go back to something I said back here. As wrong as I was about how high I thought Chainlink could get, let's go back to the why. Because in all the price predictions I ever did on Chainlink, I always used if-then statements. I always said, if this happens, this is what is doable. And while the what was doable did not happen, the if didn't happen either. And my big if was always, if the institutions come in with full adoption and they run their stories and they dive headlong into the tokenization efforts, then we will see Chainlink go to blah, 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 right? Very, very high levels. Guys, that never happened. The institutions never, ever, ever made that move. But do you know what's going to happen this next bull market? We are watching even right now, that story that Shrum shared earlier with all the relationships. We are watching Chainlink spread its what do you want to call them? Roots? Whatever you want to call them. Spread its roots very wide, very deep. They're locking in with every institution. We've seen bank after bank after bank after bank come out talking about how it's time for them to start dabbling and going fully into the real world asset sector Chainlink is, I'm not going to say number one. I think there's some other coins that can do very well. Chainlink's going to be one of the biggest benefactors of that. And while I know 24 and 25 were disappointing bull markets, don't let that stop you from realizing this is going to be the institutional bull market where the price finally takes off. Again, all of my price predictions were always if-then statements. The if was if there was institutional adoption. So now the point is you got to ask yourself the question, do you think institutions are going to go heavily into cryptocurrency in this next bull market? Do you think institutions are going to invest in the real world asset sector at a high level? If your answer is no, okay, then don't buy Chainlink, right? Don't buy Chainlink, don't buy Ondo, don't buy Canton, don't buy a lot of these real world asset tokens because you need to be consistent in your thinking. But if your answer is yes, if you're sitting here saying, no, Tim, I agree with you. I agree with you that while the institutions really didn't dive in back a year and some change ago, they are going in now. Then I just don't understand how you can make that statement, but then also say, but I just don't think Chainlink's valuable. What we're watching happen over this weekend was the evidence of when institutions dabble in the real world asset sector, when they start to expand, coins like Chainlink do very, very, very well. That's what I'm doing. That's why I'm getting aggressive. I'm upping my Chainlink DCA strategy. I'm not your financial advisor, though. That is up to you what you want to do. Shrum, bringing you back in here. Are you in the same boat? Where are you in this whole Chainlink thing? You're looking at the news side. You're hearing me break down the charts. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the institutions are still very much just evaluating Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think that Ethereum is kind of the new kid on the block for them. I think when you have the senior analysts and managers at these big funds, they're spending a lot of time still understanding Bitcoin and Ethereum. When it comes to Chainlink, this is something that the younger junior partners are going to be a lot more experience, have a lot more experience with, be a lot more excited about, but they don't make the decisions, right? I think that when the levee breaks, it's going to be fast and it's going to be aggressive, and it's probably going to hit most of crypto in addition to Chainlink. And I think it's probably going to happen around regulation. May not be around the Clarity Act, maybe this week, what we see from the White House. But I rest assured, stablecoins are already strategically important to national security at this point because they are buyers of treasuries, T-bills, and Chainlink is right there providing essential services to the stablecoin industry, and the tokenization industry at large is going to be, I don't know how many X's bigger than just the dollar stablecoin. So, I think that we're at the very, very beginning for Chainlink. I think the technology is superior. It's just Wall Street has to get their ducks in a row before they can start to take risks. These types of investments have to pass multiple risk committees within Morgan Stanley, within JP Morgan. And so while the individuals themselves obviously see that Chainlink is a good investment, it's not that simple. It's not like you and me that can just see that, pull the trigger on ITrustCapital, put it into our Roth IRA or whatever we're going to do. They have to go through layers and layers of bureaucracy. And every once in a while they hit a snag and they're like, well, we can't do that. We can't invest in this. Why? Well, because Elizabeth Warren said we can't. Oh, crap. Okay. Well, and so that's why you get kind of a weak bid. But, overall, I think that this is going to get absolutely sent to the moon. It's just a matter of time. Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look. We're not going to get into all the Q&A. Shrum, keep continuing to grab some of it as you get it. But let's take a look here at chat here. Unreal Scallywag, what a name here, said only thing is the institutions still have no real legal route to hold any given token. That's why they go through BlackRock and etc. So the demand for the token remains retail driven. 100%. By the way, that is one of the reasons why I absolutely tell you guys all the time, like the institutions are not here. If you think the institutions are fully in cryptocurrency and then this is just what it's going to be, nope. We're not even close. We're not even close to the pinnacle of what they're going to do because, like you said, there isn't the regulatory clarity yet. I saw someone chat about this earlier. They said, SEC can't create law. They can only, they just said they can't create law. You have to have Congress do it. You're right. You're right that they cannot create law, but they absolutely can create policy that they have the power and authority to enforce. And effectively, if there is no law,
which currently there is none, if it's the Wild West and Congress leaves it that way, then it is open to the SEC to come up with any policy that they need to. Now, if Congress does pass law, then it's the SEC's responsibility and the CFTC's responsibility to enforce that law. And if they deem that it needs to be even crazier law, then they can do that, right? Now, they might get shot down by Congress if they get too aggressive. But the reality is the institutions aren't waiting for law. They're waiting for rules, and the SEC can apply those rules. And until Congress changes those rules and solidifies them, they will go into cryptocurrency. Whatever the SEC and the CFTC say, if Congress doesn't pass a law, they will go into cryptocurrency because of the SEC and the CFTC's rules changes. I do think ultimately it is very important to get the law. It is very important to law. But because of what the SEC is doing, I don't think we're in this timetable anymore. We're like, man, if we don't pass the Clarity Act this fall, then crypto is doomed. I just don't think that way anymore. I also don't think that if the Clarity Act gets kicked down the road into 27 or 28 or 29, I don't think that you'll see Coinbase and Kraken and others leave the country because of what the SEC and the CFTC are going to be able to do. They might not be able to pull in the finalized law, but they can keep companies stateside. They can incentivize them, create some rules, and allow them to start investing into the space and doing what they need to do until Congress gets their stuff together and actually institutes law. So it's a very complicated process back and forth. I admit that, but it's simplistic for us investors as just saying, right now, institutions are not buying. Why aren't they buying? Because they don't know the rules. Once the SEC and the CFTC institute their rules, there will be rules that they will be able to start buying. And then when Congress codifies it, then they'll have even more incentive to buy. It, to me, is just this ridiculous launch ramp to the moon for cryptocurrency. It's just going to take some more details to pass. There we go. Shrum, anything you want to add before I let you go? And we're going to look at some more charts here.
Yeah, I mean, we're on a train. Crypto is a train and it's going in one direction. And there's always going to be people who yap and disagree with the way that the rules should be. Right. But eventually there will be a consensus reached, and that train will not have slowed down. It will not have changed direction. It is still going to head straight for the financial services industry, and it's going to be huge. And we're in it. We're early. Even if you're just in Bitcoin and Ethereum, you have a piece of the future in your portfolio.
Yeah. All right, Shrum, I'm going to let you go here for a second. It does look like you're I don't know if it's just me. Is Shrum breaking up for everybody, or is that just my screen? We'll have to wait and see. Maybe we need to fix the internet on that side. But Shrum, I'll bring you back up here in a little bit later. We'll give your internet another chance. See you in a second. Let's talk some charts here, people. Once again, we've already taken a very big look at Bitcoin and Chainlink. Let's look at some others that I think are very interesting to keep an eye on. I've seen a couple people in chat. I'm going to give permission to spam real quick. I've seen a couple people say XLM. I want to see multiple names. So give me multiple names of people saying XLM. I'll add it to the list of things we're going to take a look at. By the way, someone says we're both skipping. Okay, maybe the internet, maybe the stream is just being silly here. Trying to make sure. I have no storm going on, so I don't know if I'm choppy. I don't know why I would be choppy. But let's take a look here at Canton. What I have down on my list, right, just so people know, so don't be posting these things. I have Canton, Casper, Sui, and Polygon. These are some that we have not looked at a lot recently. Canton we have, but I want to take a look at it because it was dropping here today. Same with Casper. Sui was doing quite well. So if you have other coins you want me to take a look at, let me know. Starting off here with Canton. We had a nice bounce the other day, but I told people it's too soon to start rejoicing on Canton. We need to kind of see how this one plays out. Got a daily buy signal, but it just never amounted into very much. We didn't have daily bullish divergence. I wouldn't be surprised to see another lower low on Canton's daily chart to get some bullish divergence. I think you're sitting in a great spot right now. Like technically, if today were to close, this would be the lowest Canton close since all the way back over in December, right? And the RSI obviously is still very far away from that low we had the other day around 17. So I could easily see Canton just coming here with a slightly lower low, give us an actual daily bullish divergence here, and then finally be ready to make an actual movement. Especially, again, if the SEC, if we have good news later this week from the SEC, the CFTC, could be a big spark for a coin like Canton. But right now, it's not necessarily getting all the buys you want. Even on the 4-hour chart trading wise, you definitively, we had this great 4-hour sell signal come back in here on August 10th. I just put on a strategy videos. I talk about this all the time, and I've shown people in our VIP trading group, but I officially recorded and released some strategy videos for our VIP trading group, how to trade what I call my 4-hour, 15-minute trade. It's been very lethal for me here recently. Made a good amount of money over the last month and some change using it. And you can see here on Canton, take a look where this 4-hour sell signal came in and how things kind of played out. Would have been a very good opportunity here as well on Canton. So if you guys are interested, join that VIP trading group. Go take a look at that. I'll talk more about that here in a couple of minutes. But Canton's one I wanted to take a look at. Let's take a look at Casper. Casper was also down today. Let's go over here. Now, it had a good little run over the weekend, right? So Saturday and Sunday, Casper went from 2.5 cents all the way up to 2.7. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, and it's not like life-changing or anything, but that's a nice little 8% pump. There's definitely some wiggles that happened in there. But Casper continues to trade beneath. Let me extend these lines because when I last drew them, we had not had a reason to extend them this far. But you can see here, Casper is staying beneath this red trend line, right? So we're still in this pretty aggressive Casper bear trend. Now, something I will say that I think is a positive for Casper is because, as you can see, we have a clear support trend line. We have a clear resistance trend line. Let's get rid of this. I did have a target for Casper down here towards 2 cents. We have not quite hit it just yet, so that's going to be one to keep an eye on. Let's get rid of that for a second, though. But we are spending a lot of time on the upper half, right? If I were to draw like a midway line of this falling channel, right, it's going to be something like this. And coincidentally, that is the support trend of what's going on here. And this is one thing to look at whenever you're looking at formations. I mean, falling channels traditionally break bullish anyway, but let's pretend we were sitting in a sideways channel, right? So let's pretend the channel looked more like this. If we were evenly just bouncing back and forth, it's kind of anyone's guess, right? But if you're doing things like this, right, is spending way more time above the middle trend line, the likelihood of it breaking to the upside is increased. To the flip side, obviously, if you were to spend a bunch of time on the downside, if you just quickly got up and then spent a lot of time down here, but just occasionally went back to resistance, you're probably breaking down, right? So in this case, again, we're already sitting in a formation that leans towards a bullish push anyway, but you're also spending the majority of your time here more recently on the upper half. That to me tells me the bulls aren't ready for a full-out breakout. The bears are still doing their thing, but the bears only have so much strength. I do think a break to the upside on Casper should come semi-soon, but you do need to see a confirmed breakout above that red line. At the moment, there are daily buy signals in effect. The last daily buy signal we had here, well, you actually had this one right here, miniature one, which tells me a daily buy signal does not guarantee me anything. The only difference would be this is an uptrend in RSI with the downtrend in price action. So eventually that bearish bubble is going to pop and Casper is going to make a nice move to the upside. My guess, you probably got to wait for the weekly chart to give you something. RSI is just not there yet. Let's get a green dot and positive money flow, and I think you'll feel really good about Casper's ability to pop back up, at least back up to the 3 to 4 cent mode there on Casper. I like Casper long term. Again, I know we have a lot of members love Casper. Let me know if you guys are Caspians in chat. I still think Casper to me is a long-term play, not necessarily like if I'm thinking, how do I make the most money possible in the next 6 to 8 months or something, right? I don't think Casper is coming to the top of my brain because I think the next 6 to 8 months is about institutional pop. And at the moment, draw me a map, right? Caspians, I challenge you. Even Crux loves it. Draw me a map as to why institutions will be buying Casper in the next 6 to 8 months. I just don't know why. I think that retail in the fall can do quite well. I think Casper can start a bull trend. I'm not saying Casper is going to keep dropping while the rest of the crypto market goes up. I just think Casper starts a slower bull trend, whereas some of those real world assets and layer ones that are associated with stable coins can be more explosive to the upside. Let me know if you guys disagree. Let me know if you agree. That's just my personal take on it. Right now, as a trader, I'm just sitting here looking, give me a weekly buy signal, right? We've had ones already. It's not like a weekly buy signal is going to save the bull market, but the next big pop, we're probably looking for a weekly buy signal to feel good about it. And it's just not here at the moment. On the side of SUI, we've had some people asking, I think in the last video, a lot of people were asking for SUI. SUI's in a similar spot right here to maybe XRP. Technically, XRP put new lows in here in the last couple of weeks, last couple of days. SUI officially put in their low back on June 25th. We're not below it, but SUI by no means is in this bull trend that just is like going to the upside and is just unstoppable bullish momentum, right? So SUI is going to be a coin that is probably a little bit delayed. I think SUI's in a similar spot where if you told me, Tim, think of the next 6 to 8 months, I think it's better than Casper. But I don't think that I'm putting SUI above Chainlink and Ondo and Canton and Solana and Ethereum. Okay, that's just where I am. But I still like SUI. SUI's still in a falling wedge pattern like the majority of the crypto space. I mean, how many coins are in falling wedge patterns? It's a lot of them. There's a bear market trend line SUI has. It needs to break above. We're pretty far away from it, right? So there's not a lot of reasons to be excited about SUI right now. I would say it probably is time to be DCAing. I do think SUI could probably make one more plunge to the downside, maybe come back down here towards this support level, 54, 55 cents. Let's do some quick analysis. I've actually not done deep analysis on SUI to try to establish a bear market bottom. Very strong order block. Actually, this is a breaker block sitting here at 66 cents. So it kind of makes sense why we're kind of hovering here. This is a strong support level. But I have a sneaky suspicion this is one of my favorite tools to use when looking for bear market bottom potential. Let's go to fixed range volume. Let's go take a look here at where we're sitting. We're sitting right on, well, no, actually is another sign of evidence for this 65 cent level because that's where the gap is. It's also the value area low, but it's also where you have the next volume gap. And I like volume gaps as bottom. So give me a little bit more to the downside, maybe not quite 66 cents. I think I like 65, 64 cents. I like it a lot. We might not touch that green line again. I think to me, I'm an aggressive buyer if we can get back down to 64 cents on SUI is where I'm looking at that one. Last crypto here I want to take a look at. And then again, I think some people were saying XLM. There's a lot of XLM. So we'll do XLM as well. Polygon, formerly known as Matic. So I'm looking at a Matic chart. It says Matic in the background if you guys see that, but this is Polygon. It popped off today, right? We bring back up the bubbles. Polygon is up. It was up 10% earlier, back down to 7.2% to the upside. Gosh, get out of here, Tag. Nobody wants you here. Just ruining all the bubbles. Polygon making some moves here. Not in the bullish sense just yet. Got some room here before we're crazy bullish there. Let's draw a trend line here on Polygon. There's a couple to make. Holy cow. Polygon, just where do you even go with it? Because I could do a couple trend lines here, honestly. You could have the trend line from all the way back here in 21 and say this is going to be a major level of long-term resistance, but I don't know if I'm calling that the bear market trend line because, again, that goes all the way back to a December 2021 high. I think if you compare to the rest of the crypto market, you're looking at the highs of fall of 25, and you're probably looking at something like this. So we are approaching a bear market trend line in sorts. See here, falling wedge pattern developing once again. This is not going to blast us to all-time highs if it breaks, but it's going to be interesting to see can Polygon Matic make a move above that bear market trend line. The buy signals were here a little bit ago here on the daily chart. It does look like we have a fake out for a daily sell. That's a clear daily sell, but now we're putting a green dot again. Most importantly here, I think you're looking at the weekly chart. The weekly chart's giving us buy signals. See, this is one I would say, as far as my indicators go, I always tell people back test things. I don't know if I'm sitting here loving my indicators on Polygon. And the reason why is because this just tells you overbought. Oversold, excuse me. Oversold. It's oversold. You can't argue with oversold, but there's just no one buying, right? There's just nobody who wants to be the one to step out and make a big buy there. It makes me worried. If you're still heavily invested in Polygon Matic, this makes me worried. We're not talking about the 1 hour chart right here, guys. We're not talking about a 1 hour or 5 minute chart, just ignoring these buy signals over and over again. These are not 1 hour buy signals. These are weekly buy signals. Give me almost any other altcoin out there that's showing signs of strength, and weekly buy signals are pretty significant. To Polygon, they look like big nothing burgers. I don't know. I'd sold my Polygon a while ago. Give me a break above this red line. It might be an interesting trade. You know, we're not talking about anything crazy here. I think there's a world in which if we can get a confirmed break above this red line, maybe you trade Polygon back up towards 17 cents. But again, there's just every chance the chart gives it for a potential sign of strength. It's just doing nothing with it. Even the monthly chart. The monthly chart ignores monthly buy signals. There's only one coin that I have been brave enough to stick my neck out and call it dead. Now, I was pretty brave because I called it 2 years ago, and I think most people agree with me on this. It's Polkadot, right? I'm not trying to be the biggest fudster in the world and just tell everyone their crypto sucks. I'm not a big fan of meme coins, but have you ever heard me call meme coins dead? No, I call them stupid. Don't call them dead. I call Polkadot dead. Polygon's pretty close to being dead, guys. I would love to be wrong because I think that Polygon's team does a lot of cool things. They obviously are part of the Poly market, which I think is a big deal, but clearly there's nothing about Poly market that pumps Polygon. So, yeah. All right, let's take a look at XLM. Where's my XLM chart? Talk about choppy, boring. Long-term choppy, boring. Holy cow, 2018. XLM needs to make a move here on the long-term sector. I think you're going to go, well, I didn't want that line, but that was kind of cool. Let's go here. Long-term symmetrical triangle on XLM. Someone said XLM is better than XRP. I think it's been outperforming XRP slightly, although it's even had its own downtrend here in the last couple of weeks for sure. It broke its own bear market trend line. Go back here to the highs. Actually, that's July of 25, right? So the October 25 is right here, but that's a clear looking bearish trend line. You actually could make the argument the trend line should have been further back, but I think that's a good trend line right there. I kind of was generous with this line. You probably could redraw this and say this red line should be like this. So instead of trickling on top of it, we're trickling below this red line right here. It's very clear support trend here as well in play. So XLM building up for probably what looks like a breakout, kind of similar to what I was talking about earlier. I can't remember. Was I looking at Casper? I think I was looking at Casper when I said if you were to kind of split the difference here and draw a line down the middle. I don't like how I did that. Let's kind of, there we go. You could make the argument that, again, this is looking ready here late to make a bullish push, but you got to get the buy signals coming in. We do have daily buy signals. Oh, I love what I'm seeing here on Neurowave. Finally have positive money flow coming in. Can that be enough to get this going? Get it back above 16.2, 16.3 cents. Get a sign of significance of high volume and a spike out, and we can have a big run right there on XLM. I do like what I'm seeing right there. Let me look at volume here real quickly as well. Let's go. Where is this? We'll go January 23. It's a low. Let's kind of see what's going on. We already kind of bounced in the gaps. There's not a lot of volume to go with there. Let's scoot this in. Let's go to the highs. Let's see what we have here. Yeah, kind of camping out in a high volume area right there. Man, I think an explosion back up to these gaps. I think if you start to get bullish momentum, you're probably looking all the way up towards 30 cents before you're really too worried about a big stopper that could give us a longer term move. So give me a breakout at XLM, and I do kind of like a move back up here towards 30 cents back into the volume gap, and that's where you start to see some exchanges there as well. What time do I have? We still got some time. We got Q&A. Shrum's been collecting Q&A. Last two things I want to take a look at. Let's go to the stock world for just a second. SpaceX, I told you guys, and we talked about this on Friday as well, but I told you guys, hey, We're going to make a pop back up above 135. How long can we last up there? That's going to be the question. It does seem like we're bumping our heads here on 150. It feels like 150 is a pretty strong level of resistance. You can see the RSI is back to being overextended. It looks like we are now officially under a 4-hour sell. We'll see if that ends up holding, but a 4-hour sell is in the cards. The bigger question, daily chart. There we go. Will this daily chart turn bearish? Right? We very clear buy signal back here. Even though this chart's not very old, look at how, as young as this chart is, that was a decent buy signal back up in here. It wasn't the exact bottom, but it kind of, if you had bought right in here around July 28th, you're sitting in a good spot. The daily sell signal here on Neurowave does look like it's preparing itself for a gray dot, which would be a daily sell signal. And again, it's been how many days being back above? I don't remember if you have to stay above, because you definitely close here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. If today closes where it should, which it's about to, 4 days of staying above the 135 post the earnings report. I believe it was 5 or 7, right? So let's check back in a couple of days. I'm not ready to launch it just yet. The 4-hour is there. Let's see the 12-hour. Actually, sometimes when the daily chart's close, you just cut it in half. Nope, 12 hours not there yet. So I think it still might be a couple days. But give me a 12-hour sell signal here on SpaceX. Might be an interesting short opportunity back down below $100. I still have not bought any SpaceX. I'm still waiting for sub 100K. I'm looking around the 95 to 90 area to start my DCA. I've had some smart people in the stock world kind of imply 80 to 60 area is a realistic bottom, but they said there's a world where 90 is the bottom, so that's why you want to start your DCA there. But still a lot of room to the downside there on SpaceX before it's all said and done. Last one of my favorite stocks we've been investing in, CoreWeave. CoreWeave rejects at the red line. There's no official sell signal yet, but that's going to be one to watch as well. There's a huge gap right here. I don't think it'd be too crazy to see CoreWeave have a short-term cool-off and come back down here between $90 to $80. But I still like this one long-term. I would not be buying at this level. I would wait for one of two things. Either a sign of strength with a break above resistance, or the pullback like I'm saying, and then the DCA starts here again. When you close the gap around 90, and then you're kind of in between 90 and 80, that I'm doing a lot of crazy drawing. This area right in here, 90 to 80, that's going to be the interesting zone to load up on more CoreWeave if we get this pullback coming. So that's what I'm seeing on the charts right now. Let me know what you guys think right there. It's time to bring Shrum back up and do some Q&A. Drop some questions if you guys have some thoughts. Give me your opinions as well. By the way, another thing, we're kind of moving into a part of the markets. You know, I want to say this because, like, I wish I could just leave everybody in chat and I could just let people argue and stuff. I've noticed there's been some in recent shows, some pretty nasty chat conversations because really there's trolls that just come in and they just want to cause problems. Here's the thing. If you want to come in and disagree, but you want to do it from a respectful way and have interesting conversations, say, well, my opinion is such and so, and here's why. I love that. But if you start throwing out accusations at people, myself, Shrum, people in chat, if you just come in with, I don't want to say this, you know, in recent days, the WNBA has made a new policy based off of good faith. Some of you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to get into the details because that's on the show about. If you come into chat without good faith, we're going to start getting rid of people, right? We want to keep this chat encouraging, uplifting, good conversation. So if you just come into pee in people's cereal and cause problems, new policy, we're just going to help you out and we're going to get rid of you in chat. Doesn't mean that you're right. Doesn't mean we're scared of you. It means, hey, this is our community. We need to create our community to be a good place, a place where people want to be, and a chat full of trolls just causing problems ain't going to make it. So watch yourself in chat. If you want us to go lip off, we'll help you out and excommunicate you from the chat. You're welcome to watch all the shows, though. You just can't talk. Shrum, what are you seeing here in the chat and the Q&A side?
They did it again, Tim. While there is some shenanigans, sometimes we have some very high IQ comments and questions. Good. I'm very grateful for you all. Don't stop, though. Let me know. What are some questions you have for Tim? Maybe some tickers you want us to take a look at on the charts. We'll start off. 14 Days Sin says, if Bitcoin goes to 53, why would you buy altcoins now? Great question.
Because you DC. I mean, by the way, I've been buying Bitcoin. I have been, people are going to say this, like talking about both sides of my mouth. how long some of the OGs, you guys know, it's not like I'm just now saying that I don't think the Bitcoin bottom is in. I've been saying Bitcoin to 53,000 since the price was, I think, closer to 80. I think it was after 80 because I think there was a chance. Let me go. Well, no, let me actually take a look at it. I think when I said, even when Bitcoin was back up here, right? 81,000. Like I was looking at 53, or no, excuse me. I apologize. It was back here. We talked about the break at 86. I said 53 is doable. We didn't make it down to that. We bounced around 60. We definitely talked about it all throughout this move. We were going to rally up towards 80,000 and then we were going to drop down to 53. I've held on to 53 for a long time. As people like to come into chat and say from time to time, Tim doesn't get everything right, right? By the way, nobody gets everything right. I know that I don't get everything right. So what do? I use what's called a DCA strategy. The smartest money in the world does this, by the way. Like when you heard articles of, there was lots of bulls saying, oh, the bottom's in, the bulls are buying, the OGs are buying. Well, they were wrong about the bottom being in, but yes, whales and smart money were buying in February 26th. The bottom wasn't in, wasn't even close, but they were buying. And when you heard it back here, they're buying again at 60K. They're buying again at 50. They were buying. Like the on-chain metrics showed that smart money was buying. Well, what was smart money doing? Smart money was DCAing, dollar cost averaging. And effectively, the reason for this is because, like I just said, I don't know everything, and neither do there's not a single human on this planet that knows the exact bottom level. So what they're doing is saying, I don't think the bottom's in, but just in case I'm wrong, I will buy dips. I will buy when Bitcoin goes on sale, I will buy. And if it goes down to 53, they'll buy again. And if I'm wrong about that move right there, and Bitcoin goes to, let me draw a new one. If it goes here and then bounces back up and hits this line and then comes back down towards 48, they'll buy there and they'll buy there, right? This is not something that's that crazy of a concept to say the bottom's not in, but I'm going to buy anyway because you want to be aggressive. So even when you take a look at so what am I talking about today with Chainlink? I'm going to turn up my aggressive DCA strategy. Why? Because I'm pretty certain the bottom is in. There's a world in which this thing just takes off like a bottle rocket to the upside, and I'll show you some examples of that here in a second. There's a chance this takes off to the bottle like that, but I think the most likely scenario is we do something like this, and I buy more down here as well, but I'm going to be very aggressive with it because I think it's going to be short-lived before the next explosion to the upside. But you want to know some times that we've been wrong about dips that you wish you had DCA'd? Go back over here to 2023/2024 when I was pretty convinced that Bitcoin wanted to make a move back down. Some of you remember this if you're OGs. I was pretty convinced. The charts were telling me 20K was back on the table for Bitcoin. Didn't happen. Even throughout this whole process, if you had said oh, well, Bitcoin's skyrocketing, but it's going to pull back down and we'll just wait down there. No. Buy the explosion, buy the breakout, because guess what? Bitcoin price would never come back, and I don't think it will. Bitcoin would never come back to $33,000 ever again, right? Why should you have bought $33,000? Not because you were on support, but because it broke to a new high for the bull market. You buy the breakout. So that's what I'm looking at here with Link and some others saying, I don't want to miss this again when it's showing this sign of strength. Let's look at two other examples, by the way. Do you guys, and it's pulling back now, obviously, but gold, do you guys forget gold just taking off like a bottle rocket in 23, 20, and it just never pulled. We just never had a good pullback until this one recently, which looks like the bottom's in for gold too. And gold only pulled back down to 39.51. But all this time in here, you DCA. Why? Because there's a world in which gold just takes off. A coin just takes off and it's almost like dumbfounding how much it's taking off. Silver just took off, especially in April of 25. It just took off and it showed no signs of remorse whatsoever. And so you aggressively DCA in case things like that happen. I'm not promising you Link's going to do it, but I do think Link has the capabilities of doing that. So therefore, be aggressive with your DCA. Same thing. I'll say this one more time. Go back to Bitcoin. Guys, they were very smart people, and the TA was there. There were very smart people that called a $13,000 bottom for Bitcoin. Now, you got to think about this. 13,000, we're looking at somewhere like right here. 13.3, I think was the number. When you're up here and people are saying 13.3, you're like, oh, that's so far away. And then you drop all the way down to 17 pretty quickly. Then you drop again to 15. It seems pretty likely 13,000's a good looking number, right? But clearly we didn't get there. So what if you had held all of your cash, all of your USDT, USDC until 13,300 because there's a lot of TA saying that's where we should go? You would have never entered a single penny into the bear market bottom, and you would have not had anything to go with. Instead, it's okay to say, hey, guys, I think 13.3 is doable, but you know what? I'm going to buy after extreme fear. I'm going to buy after extreme fear. And then boom, oh my gosh, we broke the bear market trend line. Well, guess what? That means I need to start buying again because we broke the bear market trend line. And sure enough, listen, right here, if you had bought $23,000 Bitcoin on January 30th, you would have been in loss 2 months later, barely in loss. But let's be honest, how many of you wish you could enter a time machine and buy Bitcoin at $23,000? I'm going to do you some favors right here. You're all raising your hand in your brain. So my same point here is, while I think there's a magnet down at 53,000, and I will not be surprised if it happens, I don't want to be wrong if this happens instead. Okay? That's why you DCA even if you're predicting lower levels.
Well said, Tim. Well said. Helping folks come to the conclusion. Crypto Me Own Analysis says, I looked at the link chart and it's a horrible bearish divergence. Big dump ahead on link. Terrible volume. Says Crypto Meow Analysis.
Horrible. Let me look at a clean chart. So read it again one more time.
Horrible bearish divergence. Doesn't say the time frame. Big dump ahead on link.
If there's a bearish divergence, and I gotta change charts here because I don't want to get rid of some of my lines. I just want to take a clean look here. Okay. No, sorry. Love you're here. Love the opinion. Love what's happening here. This is not a horrible bearish divergence. Let me help you out here. That's clearly a uptrending. Let's change it. Let's leave it there for now. It was a bearish trend line, or a bearish wedge. Why? Because it's called a rising wedge. And more often than not, it usually works out to about 70% of the time. Let me hit the replay button. 70% of the time, these formations do this. But that leaves 30% that they do the other thing. And that's exactly what happened. Okay. The anticlimactic right there. Didn't go. But we have broken the resistance trend line of the rising wedge pattern. That is a bearish wedge, right? I'm trying to remember. This happened not that long ago with something else as well. And I can't remember what it was, but I just remember us saying, hey, be careful about this. And it was good TA. And then it took off to the upside and just kept going. So, like, I'm the type of person who, if I had drawn this trend line a couple of days ago, I would have said, hey, guys, it's going to be really hard for Chainlink to break above 910. And I would have told people, hey, look for a potential sell signal, or maybe look for a short position. But the minute this thing broke through, I would have said, forget that, guys. It invalidated. It just invalidated the bear wedge. So thank you for the chat. Great point, because I think it's a great education point. But no, Chainlink invalidated that movement. Sure. Not saying it's impossible for it to pull back down. I'm just saying if it pulls back down, it'll pull back down on different merits. What I'm looking at right now is suggesting there's a good chance we see another big move to the upside. The 4-hour has regrouped. The daily still is bullish with a lot of room to the upside. No bearish divergence here. The weekly chart looks like it's still just getting going here with its recent buy signal. I would not be looking at an aggressive short against Chainlink right now. It will happen. There will be a pullback eventually. But I tread lightly on fading Chainlink right now. Look for confirmation before you do that.
All right, we'll go off the charts for a second. We'll have a little fun. Zach Martin 22 says, Taylor, are you from Williamsburg? I am not from Williamsburg, but I lived in Williamsburg for a little while, and I miss it. Williamsburg is top notch.
It's great. The state taxes of Virginia aren't the great. The state of Virginia, if money was not a thing, probably the best state in the union. Love Virginia. Do not love the new tax code that their governor has instituted. So I still have dreams someday. I'm here in Florida. I like Florida for family and people here. I would still love to live closer to Virginia, but I was talking with a friend the other day. I was like, I would live in striking distance. Like Tennessee might be the state. You get 4 seasons. You get the mountains. You don't pay ridiculous taxes like in Virginia. So Zach Martin said property taxes are dirt cheap in Virginia. No, I don't know what the property taxes are, but their governor, if you hadn't heard, recently said that she wants the taxes of Virginia to rival the taxes of California. And if you know anything about California, you know that's not the state to copy when it comes to tax law. I don't care if I pay nothing in property taxes. It's income tax. Income taxes in Virginia are rough.
All right. Very good. George Martinez says, Tim, do you have any rare earth mineral stocks you like?
I held some gold and silver. I think I still hold a little bit of it. The other one that I held that I liked was palladium. I have not checked it on palladium in quite some time, if I'm being quite honest with you. But I hold a little bit of palladium here as well. I mean, it had the same pullback all this stuff did. I bought palladium. Let's see. When did we buy palladium? It was during this market here. I want to say I bought these 2 dips. So I'm bearish on one of them. No, this was a pullback I wanted to buy more and I never did. Yeah, I bought somewhere in this camp here. So I'm probably not that much in profit on palladium, but I have it just because I think it could be good. But yeah, not swimming in the profits necessarily on my rare earth minerals.
Yeah, and when it comes to the rare earth mineral stocks, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about MP and some others. I think that narrative, it needs a breakdown in American and Chinese trade.
Yeah.
In order to continue to go through. And that could happen, but I don't want to tie my money up in that narrative when you have the neoclouds and when you have so much attractively priced crypto. All right. Zach also, though, points out that Link always front runs, and that is something that is true. It's often decorrelated from the rest of cryptocurrency when it starts to make its big move.
I would have to do. Give me a second. That's actually interesting. I know this is gonna be very boring. This is gonna be very boring, TA, for just a second, and you can't see both my screens. But I'm actually curious in that statement right there that you say, in the sense of, let me look on the weekly's fine. All right, so Chainlink gets going, we'll say sometime in September of 23. Bitcoin gets going in October of 23. Okay, there's a cross right there. Chainlink gets going in November 4th area week. No, that was everybody. Right, that was everybody. Everybody got going in November, so that one doesn't count. Chainlink gets going here in June of 25. Bitcoin got going in April of 25, so that wasn't a front run. I don't know. It did it once, that's for sure. Cross-referencing back here. April of 2020, everything got going in April of 2020, so that doesn't really matter. I don't know. I don't know if I fully agree with that statement that Chainlink front runs everything.
Let's see what else we got here. Graham Franklin says, Tim, do you think we see late 2024 levels when crypto was high?
What does that mean?
I think he just kind of means late 2024. I think he meant late 2025.
Well, I mean, late 2024 for Link was the high. Late 2024 for Bitcoin was 105. So if you're asking, can we get back up to the prices of late 24? Yes. Now, if you're saying, can we get back up to those levels by the end of 26? I think we can make a move towards it, depending on when we finally bottom and start making that big move. But I'm not making any bets or doing anything crazy on the internet if we're not back to. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I'm going to delete my channel unless we're back up. I'm like, no, we're not doing that because I'm not going to put that type of pressure on it. I think we're making a case to get back up there by the end of the year or early in 27. But again, I want to go back to my if-then statements. If we have clear regulatory clarity, whether that's via Congress or the SEC and crypto. But I think between retail coming back in from the 4-year cycle bottom in October and institutions feeling like they finally have some guidelines to invest, I do think we're going to see aggressive movements by the end of the year, but we might just be getting going. So that's why I'm not going to put us at, we have to get back up to 24. I think Link could, because Link, when we think about it, Link just really did not get that high. I think there's several coins, though, that I wouldn't say they're going to be all the way back at recent highs. That's just maybe too aggressive.
Yeah, that's about it. Like I said, you guys did have some really, really good questions today. So thank you all for jumping in. Tim, there's 2 stock call outs if we want to look at more stocks, but I think we're already at 10 minutes over here today. Guys, if you enjoyed the show, smash the like and make sure you're subscribed. I also completely forgot today's episode was brought to you. We had great TA here today, guys, but TA is kind of worthless unless you have some place to go use it to make money. Toobit is the spot to do it. Guys, there's a trading competition starting here in 22 days. I want you to get signed up right now to get into it. But $3 million in prizes. By the way, you also, with this, you can get 0% spot fees on Toobit through September. So even if you just want to buy and hold long-term on spot, Toobit's a great spot to do that, to be buying in right now. VIP level 1 fees when you use our link for trading. If you deposit $100 or more, you get access to our live trading sessions between myself and other pro traders. So many reasons to go sign up with Toobit. Go sign up with that. Make some money on some of these calls. Learn the TA, by the way, with the VIP trading group, and then just roll in the cash while you're waiting for the full bull market to come. That's what I do, guys. If you guys ever wonder, what does Tim do with his profits of trading? I'm not just like taking them and going on vacations every weekend. I cash out my winnings in trading and I go buy dips, and it's added to my dry powder bag. So you guys should do the exact same thing. Josh says, do it for the love of the game, Tim. CIFR. Here's what I'll say, Josh. Let me write it down on my whiteboard. It's a Bitcoin mining company, I believe, converted to
I
AI.
want you, Josh, to come back tomorrow. We will do CFIR tomorrow. Well, I'll
CIFR.
CIFR. It's on the whiteboard, so it's going to happen. Come back tomorrow. We'll take a look at it. Yeah. Otherwise, guys, that's going to wrap up today's stream. We will see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place. Love you guys. Adios.